when you first wake up, it kind of leaves you feeling like, the world that you knew is very, very different to what you thought it was. Or perhaps maybe you're just not aware of the world at all and how it was. And when this happened to me, I was quite shocked. For those of you who know me, it came with a near-death experience, that first awakening. And it was getting over cancer, surgery, removing an organ, all of the things. And then I was kind of left, they say that you process those stages of, big change, and there's like grief and anger, and there's so many different layers that you go through. And what I'm finding over this last sort of learning period was that who I have been, and realizing that who I have been hasn't been an original person. And that sounds really funny because it's like, be who you are, be who you are. Well, I'm beginning to realize that being who you are means the destruction of everything that you are not. And not, some of it will be painful, like a destruction. But others just like a removing of layers in it's like for the first time ever you finally have a choice. We say we have free will, but I'm not sure how free our will is when we're acting on just pure response, like reaction to things based on our experiences and our upbringing and our, basically what we've been subject to in our lives so far. And then it's almost like when you get to the stage after the awakening, you hopefully get some sort of assistance with tools that can help you to get through or understand what is occurring. And I feel like the day and age that we're in now, we're actually quite lucky. I don't know if lucky is the word. But there's so much more access to things. But I mean, everything's duality, so the access to it is also a downfall because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of people like me who just confused, don't know where it's going, what's happening. And to be honest, I don't think anyone really knows. And it's almost like the goal is to get to the point where you're okay with not knowing what's going on. And then as it happens, you're like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. This is what's happening now, and then this is what's happening next. But honestly, for those of you who have experienced recently or are experiencing now the appearance of old patterns, behaviors, addictions, routines, you're not alone, because that's something that I've just been recently experiencing. And it was almost like yesterday I got to a choice point where it was like, you're in awareness of this now. Before you were living it unconsciously. So you're in awareness of all of this now. What do you want to do? And it was like the first time where I've been provided a choice where I actually feel like I can choose. Because while I was in this in these behaviors and patterns, it was like I couldn't stop it. I felt like I couldn't control it. It was like I was the witnesser and it was just occurring, and I was just like, what the hell is going on? And then after I've gotten through it, it's like now I see that it was a display of experiencing what it's like to live the way I have for so long before the awakening. And it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back to that? Where do you want to go from here? So it's really been this interesting journey that I believe it can't be missed. It can't be taught to somebody and so they don't have to go through it. I just don't believe that any of these things are layers that we won't experience, because it's almost, there's a lot of teachings and a lot of things that people say, it can be easier to get through, which I agree, there probably is. I've never really taken the easy path, but, well, now that's true and it's not. But, yeah, it's interesting that when I said that, what came up. Because it feels like you do. You have. I have. I've taken the easy path in everything. And it's just easier to do it this way. And it's easier to not do the big thing, just do the little thing. And, I can do this quicker, or I can do this. It's like a shortcut. I'm just really realizing all of that this morning, especially like reflected to me through my son, where he had a Rubik's Cube and he's like, it's too hard. And I'm like, wow, I'm really seeing that me in him. Where, I've been crying out for this discipline to be known to me, to overcome me, to control me. But it's getting to the point, what it did instead when I asked for all of that, is it's made me see that I'm the one that has to choose every single moment of every single day. I've got to choose constantly. And we do choose constantly. And after feeling like free will wasn't even a thing, to get to this point now and just go, it's the opposite. You're actually responsible for every single thing that happens. Nobody else. It's all you, and it's always been you. And now that you have the awareness, then it's all up to you. So, yeah, I feel like I've been given this experience of just totally being in it to see that I'm the only one that can get me out of it. And, doing that through loving awareness, but also with that discipline that's required. Because this spiritual journey is not going, there's no shortcuts, and there's no quick fixes, and there's no easy way, and there's no one thing that's going to fix it or help it or make it stop. And the old stuff just doesn't work anymore. So it's like getting to this point of just accepting, the good old tagline, like getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, but in a way that you try to make it through your own choices as comfortable as you can. And know that when it is getting uncomfortable, it's important to have these practices and these, this healthiness and this pure being and pure mind to be able to handle it. Because the only way I could ever find that out was to just experience it, because that's what life does. So if you're sort of going through a similar thing lately, then I would just say that I get it. I totally get it. And, you know, we often feel like if we just do this thing, then this will happen. If we just do this thing, this will happen. If we just... It was like when you think the Kundalini awakening is like the be-all and end-all, but then it fades and it leaves you with all the things that you have to do to align yourself. And it's like, it's not the end, it's the beginning. Oh, man, what a ride. Yeah, so I just wanted to say, love yourself for where you are, because then you will get to this point where you see you don't want to be where you are anymore, and it's going to be your choice. It's not going to be because you think you should or because somebody else tells you to. It's because you want to do it, and you want to do it for you only. Because when we're doing anything for anyone else, it doesn't work. There's a part of us that's just not on board, in my experience. Okay.